what's going on, everyone? It is Tim here with the TMA Connection, and we got a great podcast here today, episode 98. We're coming up on 100 episodes, right? I really love when I not only get to interview different business owners, but how it relates to real estate. And this one's going to relate to real estate a lot because some of our clients are older and they're downsizing, and your business is helping those people get through that stress and anxiety. So, Kara.
Yes.
Kara Kaskel and Dad, Dan Kaskel. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, thank you. We're so happy to be here. Yeah, thank you.
It's going to be really fun and hopefully educational and bring some people a lot of value, especially those families considering that next stage in life, right? The next stage. So,
absolutely.
So again, it's Dan and Kara, and they are with Sunny Way.
Sunny Way. Senior Move Management.
Yeah.
That's right.
Awesome. So give everybody a little bit of an idea of how this all came about.
Oh, wow. I feel like we start with kind of his backstory a little bit, and then he'll pass the torch to me.
There you go.
I think that's a good place to start.
So, Tim, I'm an IT guy, recently retired. I've had a side gig for probably 25 years working with mostly seniors, but also folks in estate situations.
Okay.
And it started out in the beginning with just helping folks. Actually, it started just going to yard sales and real estate or estate sales. But it started out as an interest in interesting items, personal belongings. I'm kind of a history guy, so in particular, when I would come across a Baltimore item or whatever, it would kind of pique my interest.
Okay.
And I just started hearing the stories of, folks that were downsizing, or the children of folks that were in an estate situation. From there, it just kind of evolved to helping people understand items that have value and ways for them to realize that value, whether it be estate sales as we talked, whether it be auctions, whether it be online platforms like Marketplace or eBay. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of evolved from there. It's been a side gig, something that's just been an interesting thing to do in spare time.
Yeah. Kind of like a hobby turned business because Kara enters in.
Yeah, so a few months ago, he was, kind of floating around the idea of launching his side hustle full time. Uh-huh. So retiring from IT, and I guess you can't really use the word retiring because he still keeps so busy. He's not really living.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, he's not just like lounging and enjoying the peace. He's just as busy as always. But a couple months ago, he's kind of floating around that idea, and I kind of it started as a joke. I was like, hey, when you're ready for me to come join the family business, you let me know. We had that moment where he's like, are you joking or are you serious? And I'm like, wait, are you joking? Is there something here? And after a long series of conversations and just really exploring what can I do that would complement the network and the just the kind of the business that he's already built for himself.
Yeah.
So we expanded into the full senior move management. So where he has kind of focused on that downsizing piece, the remaining content after the move. We just figured we would just kind of build it out from there, right? So that's kind of the Cliff's Notes summary of how Sunny Way came to be, and here we are. Yeah. Here we are. Yeah.
When we talked at the networking event, you were saying that you're in business with your dad and everything's very parallel to my backstory too. My dad and I got into real estate in 2015, and I was still teaching at Bel Air High School at the time. He is an integral part of this business in the fact that I could not have done it without him because I was teaching during the day and doing real estate in the evening, but things happened during the day, and he was able to take care of those things to a point where we grew the business big enough where I could then leave teaching and do this full time. Yep. So I have a huge appreciation for the father-daughter duo that you guys got going on here.
Yeah, and Tim, make no mistake, Kara's really the front side of the business. Yeah, she's the front side. She's the one out there talking with the folks and kind of promoting the business.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have someone I could count on the back end to kind of help me. I think sometimes I get caught up because I get all these big ideas and really cool things that I want to, that I really want to explore, but you can't take on that much at once. So that's where I go to him. I'm like, help me prioritize, help me figure out where should I spend my energy right now and where should I put it off until 6 months or 2 years. That's where I think he's been such a integral part of building it out.
And that's my background, Tim. I'm an operations guy by trade.
Very logistical, very planned.
Absolutely. Yeah. So coordinating moves and just working with folks through all of that comes naturally. Of course, I have my wife, Robin, who also comes from a somewhat logistical
I know, right?
Yeah, right.
Like literally, for those listening right now, we were planning this whole interview and not even making the connection that I worked with your mom for many years. And didn't think of the last name until I was like, wait a second. I was stalking you guys online, preparing for the interview, and I was like, wait a second, mutual friend Robin Kaskel. Robin Kaskel? What? Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Your mom's amazing.
Well,
and your wife is amazing.
Yeah,
technically stepmom, but love her all the same. It's all good.
Yes, stepmom. Yes.
Love her all the same, but she's amazing, truly.
But it's good that you have this great support behind you. Now, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I am 23.
23.
Yeah.
You graduated high school in 2020?
2020, if you can call it graduation.
The COVID year, right?
The COVID year, that's right.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Eastern Tech over in Essex.
My oldest graduated 2020, so I saw it now. Have you graduated from Towson, or are you still going to Towson?
No, I graduated from Towson in May of 24, so last spring.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go Tigers. I'm Tiger too.
I love Towson so much. I went to business school there. I can't speak highly enough of, they do such a great job of not just all of the content. They teach us so much, but I felt like, they taught us how to behave in an interview and so many soft skills that you can't learn in a textbook. And I think Towson did a great job. Go Tigers.
So Sunny Way, who came up with the name?
That was me. I had such a vision of, I don't know why, but right off the bat, I was like, we need the sun to be an imagery because it represents so many different things that I want to align with our mission. So, obviously you have the warmth, clarity, and illumination. There's just, there's so many different metaphors to be made there.
Sure.
But the biggest thing I wanted is when somebody looks at Sunnyway, whether that's the website, social media, even just the logo, I want it to feel warm and inviting, like it's someone that you are already comfortable with. Because if a family's going to trust us to be part of such an overwhelming and vulnerable process, it's so important that first impression is just one that they are already open to and trusting. And so, and again, that was just, the mission came first. We were set on the mission. We wanted this to be a very empathy and compassion driven mission. Sunnyway was it just made sense. I can't explain it. It just came to me. I was like, this is what it has to be. We went through a couple different iterations of the name. We were locked on Sunny, and we were kind of like, we had explored a couple different iterations, but we landed on Sunnyway.
Because it's the Sunny Way.
The Sunny Way, right, exactly.
We're the Markland advantage because it was, you got father and son, two agents for the price of one. And he was ex-police, and I was a teacher, so we educate, serve, and protect.
Right.
More to a name than just the name,
so
right?
much more.
Yeah. So you've been doing this for several years, and when did this Sunny Way business actually, when was this born?
Gosh, I would say, it's hard because it's, the idea of it it's a couple months old, but his and Robin's experience is so much deeper than that, right?
So it's really building on several years of working in that field, working with folks, working with seniors, and now putting a brand to it, which is...
So Sunnyway as a brand is definitely new. It's newer. It's newer.
Right.
I would say probably about 2 months old right now.
I love the hustle and the fact that you're showing up to networking groups. I just started doing that in August maybe, and because I had set a goal at the beginning of the year to do 52 networking events and
once a week.
And that's once a week, and I was falling way short. I interviewed Chris Reeves on the podcast.
Oh, he's great. Oh my gosh, yes.
He's the networking madman, right?
Yes.
He is the person. He knows a lot of people. He's well connected, great people.
Yeah.
But since then, everything has opened up for me too. The power of networking is so important, especially when you're starting, 2 months into the business, even though it's technically more,
but still, this is a brand that nobody's heard of. I'm just grateful. Anytime I walk into a room, there's a bit of vulnerability there. You don't know who's going to be open to that message, and you don't know, and I'm so grateful that I have a message that I'm passionate about, and that everyone has been I've been met with a lot of people matching that energy. They've been just as excited. So
absolutely,
those networking groups, it's so powerful when you keep meeting people and they're like, oh, you need to meet this person, and then you meet that person, and they're like, oh, we got 3 more people
especially when
for
you're
you.
starting your journey, but even all the way through, people are always wanting to support a good mission. People want to get behind you. People want to help you out.
And I'm so grateful. Every morning I wake up and I'm just like, I couldn't have asked for a better experience getting this up and running.
Yeah, aligning something that you're truly passionate with business. That's what it's all
That's
about.
where the magic happens.
That's where the magic happens. Right. Absolutely. So when people are reaching out to you, there's a few services that you guys provide for our seniors when they are downsizing, or maybe they're going into assisted living or memory care, those kind of places, communities. What exactly are those services? Maybe we'll throw it to you on that one.
Yeah. So, Tim, when folks are in that period where they're transitioning, right? Our typical client would be someone that's been in their home for 20, 30, 40, even 50 years. It's overwhelming to think about leaving that place that you've known for the last however many years and moving to a much smaller place. So you're moving from 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 square feet down to 800 or 900 square feet. But it is very daunting. A lot of our clients have various levels of support. Some clients have lots of family, lots of friend support. Some have very little support. Yeah. So all depending on what that particular client would need is what we are able to help them with. And that would be everything from helping them design a floor plan. So you're moving from 3,000 square foot to 800 square foot. Mm-hmm. This is what we think you might be able to take with you. What are the items that are most important to you, the furnishings or whatever it might be that you want to take with you? It's helping them develop that floor plan. It's helping them coordinate with a mover. We have a number of good moving partners that we work with. It's then moving into the next phase, which is the kind of the sorting, packing phase, where you've selected the items that you want to take with you. We need to get those packed safely for transport. Come moving day, that's the big day where all the magic happens, and making sure that everything is moved from point A to point B safely. Once they're at their new home, it's helping them unpack and get settled. And normally those transitions all happen in one day. So you're literally, now the packing is usually done ahead of time, but the physical move and then the unpack is usually done in one day, so that folks are leaving their home but having dinner in wherever that new community might be.
Right.
And then the big piece, which is the really daunting piece, which is, what do I do with all the stuff that's left?
You accumulate a lot of stuff over 50 years.
A lot of stuff.
Or 20 years.
Yeah. And folks have various levels of attachment to their personal property. And in more cases than not, there's a high level of attachment. People don't like to leave their things.
Well, 'cause in that case, it's memories. It's not
Sure.
just items. It's a whole
They're attached
lifetime of
they're attached to
memories.
something more personal.
Yeah. So, just as much as it's a physical transition, there's so much emotional turmoil and stress that happens when you're coming face to face with all these memories and all these belongings you've accumulated, and trying to find a way to pick and choose what to take, and having to come to terms with what you can't take. It's difficult. So we blend both that emotional support. We'll walk down memory lane. Just tell us a story, right? Walk us through why it's sentimental, and pass that on to someone,
I was going
right?
to ask, when you think of people that are really struggling with that detachment of things that they have, like, what are some words of encouragement that you provide to people when you have that conversation?
It's a good question.
Yeah. So I've had lots of those conversations. I mean, probably hundreds of those conversations. And the biggest help, I think, is just hearing the story, right?
Just put it out into the air to someone who's receiving it.
Tell me where this piece of furniture came from and the history behind it. A lot of times you can see some of the energy and detachment de-escalate just by telling the story, just so that someone
sharing
knows.
It with someone, right?
Yeah.
And then the other piece of that is trying to find a good home for whatever that piece might be that they're not going to take with them. Maybe the family's not interested, or maybe there's just not family or friends to take that.
Sure.
So it's trying to find a good home for that piece of furniture or whatever it might be.
Right. And you have also developed the skill of defining what value things have as well, because there are certain things that do hold a lot of value, and there's other things that you think have a lot of value that really don't. What would you say are the most common things where that doesn't have much value, or, oh my gosh, you're sitting on something really valuable here?
It's amazing how many times that actually happens, where I'll meet with a client and they're so excited and anxious to show me certain things they perceive have value. Those items obviously have emotional value, but sometimes the financial value may not quite be there. You being in real estate, I'm sure you come across those dark wood dining room sets that everyone had in the 80s, 90s, and even the early 2000s.
Right.
You know,
they paid a lot of money for.
Yeah,
Right?
lots of money.
And
right?
especially the older the furniture, the better constructed it is too.
Yeah.
It's not like an IKEA pieced together type piece of furniture. This is good solid wood and.
Yeah.
But,
It's definitely been some difficult conversations where there just isn't quite the market for it.
Right.
Now, moving back a little further than that, if it's a nice mid-century dining room set from the 50s or 60s, then it could be a much different conversation where those items are still very much desired and there's still value. But there are some difficult conversations when it comes to the dark wood furniture, and a lot of times it's grandma's china.
The china that is
Heirloom
probably
china.
expensive
Yeah.
at one point in their lives, but
Yeah.
doesn't hold a lot of value.
It doesn't, and the younger folks today just aren't decorating with that type of, china.
Right.
So.
Right. What did you want to add
just
to that?
on this topic, we're actually putting together kind of a TED Talk style seminar on that topic.
Oh, cool.
On, we call it Downsizing Mythbusters. What are the
Hey.
things that surprise you? What are conversations he's had? What are stories? So, over the next few weeks, we'll be posting some more information about that. But that is something
That makes
that
good
we're
content.
Yeah.
For social media.
So,
What's something that does have a lot of value that you wouldn't think did?
A lot of times, those are the much nicer conversations where
Mm-hmm.
you can point out some things that folks have that they may not have realized had value. But a lot of times, I'm digging through those in either the donation pile or the trash pile, pulling out those items, whether it be anything from old tools to an advertising item to, who knows? It just there's so many interesting things that, folks just really don't realize have value. But the biggest surprise usually comes when folks are talking about downsizing from jewelry or costume jewelry. Inevitably, 70% of the time, before you donate that jewelry, let's have a look and let's make sure there's nothing in there.
Sure.
A lot of times, oftentimes, we're able to pull out a broken chain or necklace, or it could just be whatever that some folks don't realize. Hey, that's actually gold, and
That's cool.
Yeah, those are much more pleasant conversations, easier conversations, and usually put a smile on somebody's face. As
Sure.
well, they came across this vintage men's bathing suit that was like, you would look at it and it's just like, you don't even know what it is when you first look at it. And, I think that was one thing that you kind of were really surprised at,
Yeah, a wool men's bathing suit, 2-piece.
Did you try it on?
No, I didn't. But was able to, get that client a little bit of money for that bathing suit. Yeah.
Just
Now, is that
things that you
something
don't
that you
even-
look up on eBay or something and say, like, is there a source that you go to?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of sources you can use. eBay's always a good one. When you're looking at eBay, I tell folks it's not the items that are listed, that you have to look at the sold items.
Right. Because it's listed doesn't mean it's going to
parallel
sell.
to what we do,
Yeah,
right?
right.
You can list the house for as much as you want. It doesn't mean that it's worth it.
Right.
Exactly. Sold listings on eBay is always a good way to help. But you have to first recognize that the item might have potential. That's where we really come in and are able to add value.
What do you love most about what you do?
Oh, wow. For me, the answer is easy. It's the people. I
Okay.
just love socializing, hearing stories, hearing, everyone. There's just so many people out there to meet.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I thought I was an introvert. My degree is in business analytics. And I thought that,
Where did you get the analytics from?
there was a point where I thought I was going to be a lawyer. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. And here I am, completely different than what I studied, which I think, that's
Happy.
everyone, right?
Yep.
But there was a while where I was like, yeah, I'm an introvert. And then, sitting behind a desk, staring at spreadsheets all day and I was the one that was the nuisance in the office, walking around, striking up a conversation, distracting everyone from their work. And, it was to the point where I was like, I love everyone on my team, but I don't think the work itself is a good fit. I think I'm just someone that needs to be out and socializing and talking. And that translates into that emotional part of what we do, right? So hearing those stories, tell me all about where you grew up and where you ended up, and tell me about what your kids do. I want to hear all of it. It's a genuine curiosity, a genuine passion of understanding and knowing. I would say that's my favorite part. It's really just meeting people, hearing their stories. It's just so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I completely feel what you're saying.
Right.
And connect
Yeah.
just what you're saying. And when I realized that after the first year of real estate, yes, I can make more money here, but I'm still making a difference. Like, you get into teaching because not for the money, you want to make a difference,
of course,
right? You want to make an impact,
of course.
And when that first year, I was like, man, I'm getting that same intrinsic feeling. Like, I'm helping somebody, you know, I'm getting them from point A to point B.
Right.
But also being able to support my family a hell of a lot better than
when your career and your passions overlap.
Oh,
it's just such a
that's
beautiful
where the
thing.
magic
That's where
happens.
the magic happens. I love that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
How about you? What is it that you love most about what you do?
It's the same thing. I mean,
same thing.
Again, being the history guy and hearing the stories. A lot of my ancestors are from the Baltimore, Maryland area, and hearing the stories about the early days in Baltimore. I really do enjoy that. It's not unusual for me to sit with a client for 2 or 3 hours and just listen to the stories. I really enjoy it.
Outside of the people, let's go behind the business a little bit.
Okay.
Because I love talking entrepreneurial talk too. You're a father-daughter duo. Mm-hmm. How do your strengths play with each other? And what do you feel is your biggest contribution to the business?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think it does go back to me being the extrovert that maybe gets a little overexcited and overambitious, and having him kind of just hear all my big ideas and hear all these different things I want to do. And he really does help me refine it down to very, very intentional purpose.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it just complements, you know,
That's a good yeah.
It complements his skill set so well, which is, you know, why don't you talk
more
about
it? So basically, she gave her strength, but then she also deflected to you and called your strength out.
No.
So what do you think, outside of what she answered,
Yeah.
what do you think your strength is with the business? And then what's her strength?
It's really operational for me. Once we've met a client, once we have an engagement in place, it's then executing on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really my background. It's my strength. It's what I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
It's starting on a project and getting from the beginning and then looking at the end and seeing that smile on that client's face when they're in their new home.
Yeah.
And then it works with Kara's strengths, you know, very well, because again, she's very much out in front, meeting with people and talking with people and promoting the business, which is something I just have less interest in doing, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
As the business as a whole, what do you think your biggest challenge is right now? I mean, you're only 2 months in, so you got, you know, officially, you know, Sunny Way is 2 months old. What's that greatest challenge that you guys are facing right now?
I think it's just getting the brand out there. It's getting the word out there. Now, I've been working with a network of folks for a long time, so they know who I am. The senior services community is a small community, although Kara has introduced me to a lot of folks that I didn't know that were in business and doing those services in the community. Now it's introducing the brand. It's not just Dan, it's Sunny Way.
Right.
Well, and trying to decide what channels and what does that even look like, right? So I'm out networking, and that's so much fun and rewarding. But what else can we be doing? How are we able to meet our prospective clients where they are when they need us? I would say that's something we're actively trying to figure out. And the great thing is, you know, being kind of a younger brand, is that we can do a lot of trial and error.
Absolutely.
We can afford to do something and say, hey, maybe that didn't work as well as we thought.
Yeah.
We can afford to kind of experiment and see, you know, like at this point, if we're getting the brand out there, that is a win.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, just from the outside looking in, I think certainly having connections with real estate agents are going to be very beneficial, because they're going to know somebody's going to be making a move.
Right, and these services wrap very nicely around, that transaction.
So I can certainly see a partnership with us. You know, I can think of 3 clients right now that could definitely use this service. Just becomes overwhelming, right?
We'll circle back.
We'll circle back off the mic, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. My dad and I have always been close for the most part. I was a bit of a pickle when I was a teenager, but we'll leave that for another podcast. We are close, but working together has brought us significantly closer. How has your relationship as father and daughter been affected by being in business together?
Honestly, it's hard to answer that, because I think one thing he wanted to be very mindful of before we even really officially launched Sunny Way was going into business with family. You know, it has its risks, right? You know,
absolutely.
And I think we are so great. Like, I'm grateful that we have put so many, like, maybe tough conversations. They really weren't that difficult, but we put a lot of conversations and transparency before this was even a thing. So we've talked, all the hypotheticals, all the dilemmas we've worked through so that now we both are already in alignment on the mission and the message.
Okay.
But keeping in mind that, as you well know, when you're in business with family, it can,
yeah,
or in business with anyone.
Yeah,
right?
But that's true.
It can be
Not
a
just
challenge.
family.
Do you guys
Right.
have any set rules where, like, let's just say, I'm really making you feel
No,
uncomfortable.
no, it's a good question.
Like, okay, you think you should do this. He thinks the opposite.
Oh, we butt heads. I mean,
You
but
butt
it's
heads.
always respectful.
But
It's
always respectful. But when all is said and done, what happens? Like,
she's the CEO.
I mean, I come to him and I'm like, I really feel strongly that this is something we need to do or this is something we don't need to do. I'm not someone who will ever make a decision solely based on my own. I need to research. I need to hear every possible argument. I need to hear the devil's advocate. So when I go to him, I don't want validation. I want him to challenge me. I want him to say, what could go wrong? What haven't I thought about? When I say we butt heads, we never argue. It's more so I come to him and he's like, make sure you're considering this. And I'm like, man, I didn't think about that.
It's a way of checks and balances.
It really is.
Ultimately,
Important.
I talked to my dad, or my mom's involved in the business too. She was in banking for years, so she does the books and everything. And she'll challenge me on things. Ultimately, I get the final call. I'm less fearful of risk. If I put my money out there for something and it flops, I'm not afraid to say that I tried and failed,
Right.
Because I think through failure you learn. So, but yeah, I'm more of the visionary behind things. And then my mom and dad are kind of like, hey, but have you thought about this?
Right.
Have you thought about that? And they're doing it out of a place of love because I know that they love me and everything. It's not like they're challenging me just to challenge me.
Right.
But they help me to see potential
clearly,
consequences of the decisions I'm making. Sometimes I heed their advice and,
That,
So-
You gotta trust your gut on a lot of that too.
Yeah.
That's something, trusting your gut and just.
Yeah, it goes to the core of, operations again, and being a trained project manager. Risk benefit is always a big part of every project or anything that you entered. So that's my job, which is, kind of helping Kara understand, make sure you've thought of all of the risks, understand what they could be, what the consequences could be, and then it's up to her to make the best decision.
And ultimately too is like, sometimes you can break it down and it seems risky, but you got that gut feeling like
You just know.
we got to do this.
And look, I mean, I think something I've always said is I would rather fail and learn something and know not to do that ever again than wonder what if.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would rather, if it's a gut feeling that's really calling me, that what if feeling, what if I had made a different decision? I don't want to have to live with that. I want to just find out.
Yeah.
So there are some things that are very obvious. We'll never do that, and that's not what we are. But there are some risks. Even the lesson on the other side is more valuable than than anything. It's always like learning from your mistakes, and failure is the biggest teacher. Exactly. It's so cliche, but it's just so true. It's so true. It's cliche for a reason.
Absolutely. In business, what do you think is the most valuable lesson that you've learned from your dad?
Wow. I would say I think it's twofold. Trusting your gut is one big thing that I think he's really encouraged me to do, even when it's not his first choice. He's encouraged me. This is your operation. This is for you to try and to mess up. But at the end of the day, it's your decision to make. He's given me so much empowerment to do that. Because in the first couple weeks, it was like I was asking him almost permission. I was like, do you think this is a good idea? He's like, Kara, you don't need my permission. You can do this. And in that same vein, I think adaptability and being able to look yourself in the mirror and say, this worked, this didn't, and not being so stuck on any one idea or any one, angle or perspective that you can't just drop it and move on and change and just, I think that adaptability of being able to respond to feedback, welcome feedback. Everyone I talk to, I welcome it. I'm like, ask me the tough questions, make me think about it. I think it's both being adaptable, but also being empowered to lead this and to trust myself.
Yeah,
right?
That's awesome. Questions for you. What have you learned most from your daughter in business?
One of the things that's always been a challenge for me is just kind of getting in front of people and that whole networking component of it. And, I've been to networking events before. I'm been a part of a couple of the senior networking groups here in Harford County. But I'm usually the guy sitting at the table waiting for someone to walk up to me.
Yeah.
You know, and just to, you know, kind of watch her kind of operate in the room. And it's, you know, come on, Dad, if you don't get up and, you know, walk around and start talking with people, you know, there's nothing going to happen.
That's what everyone's there for.
Right.
That's what I say. Everyone's there to be approached. And
but I can totally feel what you're talking about, right? I mean, it's like this, I got to push myself. But that's why we're here. You're supposed to be meeting people.
Exactly.
Right, you know?
That's the one group of space where you can approach anyone, reach your hand out, shake their hand, and say your name. And you will almost, I won't say 100% of the time, but 99% of the time, you're going to be very, very well received. You know, how often do you get into a space where you can just walk up and say...
And again, people want to help.
Right.
People want to help you. Yeah, that's awesome. When people are thinking about making a move, how soon should they be connecting with you?
So the simple answer to that question is as soon as you start thinking. That could be a year out, 2 years out, 6 months out. As soon as you're starting to feel like you're ready to start looking at that move, that's the time to start reaching out.
It's never too late, though.
Never too late.
No, it's never too late.
Yeah.
But again, moving back to the what do I do with all of this stuff component of the business, the sooner that you can start looking at the stuff in the attic, the stuff in the basement, the things that haven't been touched for 20 years and start getting some ideas about that, whether it's I want to sell these items or I want to donate them to the church or donate them to charity, whatever you want to do. The sooner you start making that plan, the easier the transition becomes. But oftentimes, more times than not, we're working with folks within 60 or 90 days and sometimes within just a week or two of actually making the move.
I mean, sometimes sellers will want to just flip the switch, like, I'm ready to sell. It's like, well, if you take the time to have us come in and look at what you have, and a lot of people are very hesitant about letting me come in before, but it's like, but that's what I'm there for. I can overlook any clutter that you have, but let's kind of come up with a plan of what can you do to make your house more presentable or net more money in your sale, and what are some of the things that you shouldn't even worry about and adjust with price, right? I always feel the sooner the better too.
And Tim, some of those things are very small or very inexpensive, right?
Yes.
Just sometimes it's just those minor little tweaks that can make such a big difference.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So if people are interested, they want to get a consultation. Is it a free consultation?
Yeah.
Free consultation. Yeah. How can people reach out to you guys?
Yeah. So our website is sunnywaymove.com.
Okay.
We have our social media. It's all Sunnyway Move. And then our phone number is 410-989-3493. You can call. You can also text that number. And then, of course, my email address is kara@sunnywaymove.com.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Guys, this has been an honor to have you guys come in.
It's been great. Thank you for having us.
I felt a lot of parallels in our conversation. Yeah. The dynamic that you guys have together is phenomenal, and there's no better way to go through life than working with each other. You guys, your spirits and your vision and your head is in the right space. Look forward to collaborating with you guys a lot more.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. Look, follow these people on social media. They are doing great things. Follow us also on Facebook and Instagram at The Markland Advantage. If you're listening to this on Apple and Spotify, you can watch it on YouTube and see what good-looking people I'm interviewing. And if you are watching this, you can also listen on Apple and Spotify on your way into work and subscribe and help us grow the channels. We really appreciate you joining us today. Thank you guys for coming in today.
Thanks you so much.
Yep. And until next time, live your life to the fullest. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Did you like this episode of the TMA Connection? Well, you might want to check this one out right here. Go ahead. Click it.